At some point, you gotta stop looking up at the sky, or one of these days you'll look back down and see that you floated away too.
The book I read was Paper Towns by John Green. Paper Towns is like a mystery, adventurous, love story type of book for young adults. In the book Paper Towns, the main character is Quentin Jacobson. He is a 17-year-old boy that has been in love with his childhood best friend Margot Ross Spiegelman his entire life. After a life-changing discovery at the park when they were just 9 years old, Margot and Quentin have gone their separate ways. Quentin is now a very intelligent boy that has a small group of friends, and Margot has a reputation for being tough and cool. One night, just a few weeks before graduation, Margot shows up to Quentin's window dressed in all black and asks Quentin to help her on an all-night adventure to get revenge on the people who have hurt her throughout her high school years. Of course, Quentin decides to follow because he thinks that it will bring them together as friends again. The next day after the all-nighter, Quentin arrives at school to discover that Margot has run away. Quentin turned to his friends Radar, Ben, and Lacey in an attempt to help him find her. Along the way, Quentin discovers that Margot had left clues for him in hopes that he would find her. During this journey, Quentin realizes that Margot is not the person that he thought he knew. So here's an excerpt from the book Paper Towns that kind of shows you John Green's writing style throughout this book. I headed off to government. To Ben, an elective about video game design. I watched clocks through 2 more classes, and then finally the relief radiated out of my chest as I was finished. The end of the day, like a dry run for our graduation less than a month away. I went home. I ate 2 peanut butter and jelly sandwiches as an early dinner. I watched poker on TV. My parents came home at 6, hugged each other, and hugged me. We ate macaroni casserole as a proper dinner. They asked me about school. They asked me about prom. They marveled at what a wonderful job they had done raising me. They told me about their days dealing with people who had been raised less brilliantly. They went to watch TV. I went to my room to check my email. I wrote a little bit about the Great Gatsby for English, and I read some of the Federalist Papers as an early prep for my government final. I IM'd with Ben, and Radar came online. In our conversation, he used the phrase, the world's largest collection of black Santas 4 times, and I laughed each time. I told him I was happy for him, having a girlfriend. He said it would be a great summer. I agreed. It was May 5th, but it didn't have to be. My days had a pleasant identicalness about them. I had always liked that. I liked routine. I liked being bored. I didn't want to, but I did. And so May 5th could have been any day until just before midnight when Margot Ross Spiegelman slid open my screenless bedroom window for the first time since telling me to close it in the 9 years before. So as you can tell from the excerpt I just read, Paper Towns is written in first person from a teenager's point of view. John Green's writing style really connects with young adults and teenagers because he uses the language that they're really familiar with.
John Green also uses many metaphors and hyperboles throughout the book Paper Towns. An example of a metaphor is when Margot describes Orlando as a paper town by how fake it is. And an example of a hyperbole is when Quentin is talking about the clock. The clock is always punishing, but I feel like I was closer to unraveling the knots, which made time seem to stop entirely on Tuesday.
I strongly recommend Paper Towns to all teenage girls that enjoy mystery, nonstop adventure, and romance books. Paper Towns is a quirky, insightful, funny, and realistic book that every teenage girl can relate to. In conclusion, if you are looking for a book that is full of love and mystery, pick up a copy of Paper Towns today!